Anticipatory bail plea, and I'd like Mr. Mishra's inputs on this. They said there is the law so draconian that one of their properties needed to be razed, and they also are claiming that this was illegally done. So this bulldozer action, is this going to go against the state, is what my question to you is, sir.
But before that, I want to say something, that why do the authorities or everyone wait for such tragedies to happen?
Absolutely.
This is Upahar tragedy all over again after almost 30 years. Upahar was 1997, and still the same thing. The premise didn't have proper fire safety measures. Small thing, the fire department has to go check and give a license, but nobody bothers for it.
Yes.
People go on temporary licenses. The local authority, they are not taking any responsibility. Now, what now? Why do we wait for all this to happen?
Absolutely. And Mr. Mishra, I said when you point a finger at someone, fingers are pointing back at you. So we will look at the larger aspect of this case that is becoming murky by every passing day. Every now and then we keep looking at all these whistleblowers talking about how this land itself is illegal. But we are putting out those visuals. On that one side of your screen, you see the visuals from the IGI airport in the national capital. Any minute, we will see the Luthra brothers will be taken out of the airport, taken to court so that their transit remand is sought by the Goa police. And my colleague Anvit is there at the airport tracking all of these developments. Anvit, any movement there?
Yes, you see arrangements being made by Delhi police as well as by the CISF. Quick response team commandos of CISF are here, and this is the VIP entry gate, that entry and exit gate, in fact, of the terminal, arrival terminal of Indira Gandhi International Airport. And you see elaborate arrangements have been made, barricading has been done, and now they are also putting around ropes, and media has been cordoned to a side because any time now of following the formalities and paperwork, once it will be done, and once the deportation formalities will be completed and paperwork will be complete, we believe they'll be taken to Patiala House Court and for the transit remand. But that elaborate arrangement, the quick deportation that it was within 10 days, and they fled on 7th of morning, and today's so within 10 to 10 days, this deportation has happened, and the very same day when they had fled, lookout notice was also issued. So governments have acted promptly, and now they are being brought back. Like I was earlier saying, now investigation does not only remain restricted to the incident that has happened and the lives that were lost, not only the criminal negligence and culpable homicide not amounting to murder, but it has gone beyond that. Now finances of these companies are being looked into, the norms that have been flouted, civic agencies that were allowing this place to be run, and also the norms and fire safety guidelines that were not being adhered to. So a lot of things to look into, not just Luthra brothers, but other agencies also will now come under the radar because they were allowing this place to be run. So
the main charge remains culpable homicide. Anvit, we want to understand from you, how much time, give or take, will this entire immigration process really take so that we see the Luthras coming out and eventually taken to court?
See, we are expecting that it will take at least an hour. For now, they must have deboarded. CISF teams are there to cordon them to the deportation area. And now, once they're there, their CBI teams are inside. There are also CISF and Delhi police along with Goa police. And formalities are being completed. Paperwork is being completed. Arrest memo has been served to the brothers. following some paperwork and immigration formalities, they'll walk out, and this is the gate we are expecting them to walk out from. You see, Delhi police officials are, going inside, and a short while ago, CBI team was also here. They also went inside. So multi-agencies are here, and the focus is to bring them out, take them to Patiala House Court, help Goa police get their transit remand, and then take them to Panji, where investigation into this entire case can be completed.
Before that happens, Arunima also continues to be with us. Before the brothers are taken to Panaji, Arunima, the main case that one is looking at, because this has become a murky business, and we have been talking about how there are very many other cases that the brothers are involved in, and all of that has been unearthed, including the money laundering charge that is against them. But the main case right now that the brothers are going to be tried for is culpable homicide. Of course, the licensing issues, the fire safety norms that have been terribly flouted, that resulted in the 25 deaths that resulted on their property. All of that first will be looked at, is that right?
So the probe will be multi-pronged. It's not as if they are going to only focus one issue at a time.
Okay.
There are multiple issues where there is a problem with the way the Lutra brothers were running their establishment. Money laundering aspect, there is a possibility that at some point enforcement directorate could come in, since they are the ones who are responsible. But Goa Police's investigation will look at the violations, how the no objection certificates were not taken, fire clearances were not taken, complicity with authorities right from Panchayat level till the top, and most importantly, this decision to flee. Even though they've tried to argue, the Lutras have tried to argue that they were visiting Thailand for work purposes, nobody is buying that argument, and Goa Police has a strong suspicion that somebody tipped them off about an impending arrest. They were in Delhi at that point, and hence that flight getting booked at 1:17, which is about an hour 15 minutes since the inferno began. Who tipped them off? How was this entire flight to Thailand staged? And all of the conspiracy that Goa Police suspects will be their investigation starting point. They're hoping to get them into custody by tomorrow morning latest, or tonight. An interrogation will begin thereon. As of this moment, Goa Police is waiting at the T3 immigration wing, where custody will shortly be given to them by the Indian officials who accompanied the Lutras.
Right, absolutely. We also have Ananya, who's joining us from the Patiala House Court in Delhi. He has an update for us. Ananya, we're learning that the proceedings will be starting at 4 this evening. That's what you're bringing to us. More on this.
Well, absolutely. As far as legal sources are confirmed, the lawyers connected to the case completely go on to tell us that the proceedings are likely to begin around 4 p.m. as far as the Patiala House Court is concerned, because there is a lengthy procedure that needs to be carried out at the airport. With the first, in fact, arrest memo would be served to them, the grounds of arrest would be read, and then a formal arrest would be made as far as the Goa police is concerned, and then he will be taken for a medical. Medical would be done in Dwarka, and then the two brothers will be brought to the Patiala House Court, where the Goa police would be seeking their transit remand to take them to Goa. So that is exactly why these proceedings could get delayed till 4 p.m. in fact, the National Capital's Patiala House Court. So we'll have to wait and watch for that. But definitely, the flight has now landed. The process and paperwork would begin very, very soon as far as the supplying of the grounds of arrest and giving out the arrest memo is concerned. So we'll have to wait and watch as to how things pan out. But definitely, it's an end game that is coming in for the Lutras, because as soon as this transit remand is granted, they will be taken to Goa, where the actual prosecution in this case would actually begin.
Right, absolutely. And the counsel of the Lutra brothers, Arunima, there with all of those details. We'll try and establish that connection with Arunima in just a bit. But let me bring in Ashwini Dubey back. Ashwini, the fact that the charges will be read out before the Lutra brothers by the Goa police, and that's how the proceedings really end at the airport, and then later the action shifts to the Patiala House Court. What happens when it is about their counsel? Any arguments that can be presented there, or everything happens in court from then on, from when the brothers are taken out of the airport?
Defense counsel, the lawyers who would represent Mr. Luthras, their first argument would be that they had not violated any law and they have not fled from justice. They were always ready and willing to cooperate. That is why they filed an application seeking anticipatory bail, meaning thereby they were not absconding. But the moment they were deported from there, and at the request of Goa police, that there are specific sections of BNS have been invoked against them for committing certain crime under section 105, which is self-culpable homicide, and then endangering life and personal safety of others, and other sections. The police of Goa police would argue that since the investigation has to be done and custodial interrogation is required, because this argument may take place even before the transit court. It is not that the transit court is just to sign and just let them. Transit court also evaluate the evidences that whether the person who has been brought to us, are there sufficient evidences against them to take it to the jurisdictional police station for further investigation. And on that event, both the defense and the prosecution lawyers would argue on this point, and then court after I will say no, since there is a custodial interrogation required for certain other violations which the Goa police is still yet to investigate, because their presence is required. On that count, court may send them to the Goa. Then the Goa police, not only the Luthras, but all other persons associated with this offense, probable, because the offense is registered against some other persons also. So after during the investigation, their names would be revealed, and the certain violations which you are just telling to your viewers with respect to the illegal encroachment over the land, even with respect to the land which they have encroached, and the owner of the land doesn't know that they have encroached it, because that area is in fact a prohibited area. That's a salt pane area, and that is why they have violated. The Birch by Romeo Lane has been encroached certain part of the land of which belonging to the other person who is from Goa. So that will also be investigated upon. And if there are any violations ignored by the authorities, meaning that the panchayats look after the every licensing process of Goa. That too, in Goa, the panchayats are in fact the more powerful than any district court of Delhi or other parts of the country you would talk about. So the panchayat sarpanch, if he has ignored it, or the panchayat secretary, if he has ignored that the specific violations, or found that yes, this their nightclub was made by ignoring certain law, then of course the offenses would be applicable against them also, because their section 3.5 talks about the common interest. So let's see how the investigation proceeds.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Ashwini. So Arunima, initially when we were looking at this particular case, and we were also looking at the anticipatory bail plea that was before a Delhi court while the brothers were still in Thailand, the one argument was that they had things, and one thing that also was brought to notice through the report that you'd filed was that there was a possible tip-off that was given to the brothers of the lookout circular against them before even the blue corner notice eventually was given out by the Interpol. All of these aspects will also be looked at in the court today?
Yes, that is a suspicion, whether it is in the court of law today or later in the investigation, because today at the Patiala House Court it's only a transit remand application, where the remand application is likely to list why Goa police wants custodial interrogation, what is it that they suspect of them of doing, the fact that they fled to Thailand, that will be mentioned in all likelihood in the transit remand application as well. The second remand application will be seen in Goa, where Goa police will argue as to why they want to question the Luthras in custody. Why is custodial interrogation required? So that remand application will list out all these charges. First, the reason why Luthra brothers should be held accountable for death of 25 people. Their own employees were among the deceased, yet they did not stay back and do anything to help the families or meet the families or even meet those who were injured. The conspiracy that Goa police suspects, that somebody was tipping them off. Otherwise, how could they book a flight to Thailand within an hour and 15 minutes of the inferno and escape? The lookout circular came much later. So they do suspect a conspiracy. The blue notice that Interpol had issued was also part of that well thought out strategy. But first and foremost, Goa police would want to question the Luthras about the crime itself. They're being charged with culpable homicide not amounting to murder. So under that section, Goa investigating officer would want to question.
We're also putting out certain inside visuals from inside the aircraft, which had brought the Luthra brothers back to the country. These shots, we are playing them deferred for our viewers. Visuals of the Luthra duo while in the custody, and that while they were landing in the national capital, deboarding this aircraft, the craft that has got them from Thailand to India. These are the first shots of the Luthra brothers inside the aircraft there, as they have landed in the national capital and that arrest warrant is going to be served to them by the Goa police, or is already have. We'll get that update from our colleague Anvit. Anvit, all these visuals, we are putting that out for our viewers.
Are after soon around the deboarding. They have been taken to immigration counter as we know now, and Goa police teams are waiting at the immigration counter to. They have been served an arrest memo, and soon the formalities are completed. Some paperwork will be there. CISF teams, we are being told, were there on the tarmac when the deboarding was happening, and they were brought along with the Delhi police teams and CISF. They had brought them to immigration counter, and now the formalities of immigration will be completed. And after that, following some paperwork, we are being told that it will take at least half an hour more to for them to step out. This is the gate that you're seeing from where they'll be stepping out. You can see additional deployment has been made, and the entire area of this in front of this VIP green gate. I request my camera, and this is how the
there. But the focus is to make sure the law and order remains intact, and the brothers will be coming here. A lot of government vehicles are also lying there. These cars will be taking
taken to Patiala House Court, and we believe that Goa police teams and Delhi police team and also teams from CBI will be there in that convoy, and they'll be taken to Patiala House where the arguments will happen, and the Goa police will seek their custody. Now, after transit remand, they'll be taken to Panji where the investigation is to be taken. But this is the international terminal, arrival terminal of Indira Gandhi International Airport, where the flight has already landed. Some formalities are still going on, and the visual that you were showing were of Lutra brothers after landing, after disembarking the plane. They are inside the terminal building now, and anytime soon they'll be walking out of this gate if once the immigration facilities and the paperwork of deportation is completed.
Absolutely. The Luthras back in the country to face the law, and these are the exclusive visuals from inside the aircraft which had carried the brothers from Thailand back to India. Any minute to the Patiala House Court for that transit remand hearing. But Mr. Meena, I'd like your inputs on the other allegations that have been unearthed in the process of looking at this tragedy that had emerged from one of the properties of the Luthras in Goa. We're learning that in early 2024, the local village Panchayat was scheduled to carry out an inspection of the property. And on the 17th of January is when they claimed that the construction was illegal. And the brothers were supposed to appear for that inspection. They never did, and the matter never really took off. What is this kind of laxity that has been on display, and now that it has come to fore in the process of looking at this particular story and the investigation, the way it is proceeding?
It can't be said laxity. Somebody at top level must be involved in protecting them. Because what happens, the authorities, they start taking action and there is always interference in their working. So there must be some interference or connivance from Panchayat. We don't know until unless inquiry reveals. But inquiry cannot reveal, because if somebody is from the government side involved, then how can they say he was involved and she was involved? So what happens, this is really unfortunate. In fact, they were running the show without without legal things. All illegalities were there in their running. Still, no action was taken. If authorities were serious, they could have demolished it, they could have stopped it, and they could have stopped death of so many people. But certainly there is connivance. And moreover, I can say in working of police in Goa, because there was the lot of tourists are going, around 1 lakh tourists, more than 1 lakh tourists are visiting per year. There are so many pubs, resorts, and the traffic has also increased. And there are so many issues, even like drug and many issues are there. Even foreign tourists are also coming. So I recommended that there should be 2 more police districts. Now they have got only 2 police districts. So SPs of capital city who is sitting in power in Panji, he can't look after whole district, revenue district. There are 2 revenue districts and 2 police districts. So I recommended that there should be 4 police districts, 2 more police districts should be there, so that officer at district level officer can supervise this. It is I recommend that it is humanly not possible for SP level officer to supervise such things, and such things are happening. If the government also agreed, but I don't know, till now the orders have not been issued. It is high time that government should issue order and create 2 more police districts and SP level officers. Then only things will be there, so that they can be closely supervised. Because I all anticipated this when I was DGP there.
Okay.
Things are not good. Things are not being properly supervised at this level. So I don't know when they are going to be made operational, but they should make immediately operational, because there should be 4 district SPs there. Then only we can expect close supervision.
Right,
And
absolutely.
otherwise, you can see always there are incidents are taking place, and we just order inquiry, and media is there,
Absolutely.
and after some time they forget.
So, Mr. Mishra, would your like your inputs too on this? The Panchayat is equally to blame because they did draft a demolition proposal in the year 2025 itself, early 2025, and sat on it, chose not to do anything about it.
Panchayat, in fact, in Goa, the kind of construction activities we see, we read about it, there are lots of lapses are hand in glove with the construction authorities. So all this, as I said, this is Upahar all over again. Upahar was running for 12 years on a temporary permit. So this again is we are not learning from our mistakes. And one more thing which I would want to
We do see
say,
some movement at the IGI airport. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Mishra, but I'd like to go to my colleague Anvit. Anvit, we do see some movement at the gate there at the VIP exit where you're standing. So possibly we will see the Luthra duo coming out any minute.
Yes, we are expecting some movement in half an hour, and we are being told that certain formalities are underway, and officials who are deployed here, they got a communication short a while ago that formalities are underway, and it will take at least half an hour, 20 minutes for Luthras.
And first images while they have landed in the national capital, possibly, Anvit, that is what we are putting out of the Luthra brothers there. They have masked themselves. And possibly from the Delhi airport is where they are putting out. We are putting out these shots from. We'll have Anvit confirm that for our viewers, and we do see that they have landed in the national capital, and these are the first images of the brothers of the Luthra duo while they've landed. Anvit. Anvit, if you can hear me. We also have Ananya on the broadcast. Ananya, very soon the action is going to be shifting where you are standing at the Patiala House Court, and we are just putting out these first images of the Luthra brothers as they have landed in the national capital. The proceedings are currently underway of immigration after that arrest warrant has been served to them by the Goa police. Now that the matter shifts to court, certainly there will be very many of these arguments that have already been presented by the counsel of the Luthra brothers while their anticipatory bail plea was being heard in another court in Delhi. Is that going to be repeated today also, or the transit remand proceeding is going to be a quick one?
Well, absolutely. Transit remand is generally, in fact, a particular remand for the benefit of our viewers, which is granted in when an accused is arrested by another state police team in a particular city or a district, and then they are taken to that home state. So in this case, now the Goa police will seek a transit remand, seek the court's permission basically to take him from the national capital to, in fact, Goa, and that is something that's what transit remand is. They will be specifying as to why the investigators need him. They'll have to specify as to what is the charge against these two brothers, and every detail and bit of piece would be given out to the court here in the national capital at the Patiala House Court, because this is the court under whose jurisdiction the IGI airport comes, and the arrest has happened at the IGI airport. Hence, these two brothers will be brought to, in fact, the IGI airport to the Patiala House Court, and from here, after taking a transit remand, then these two brothers will be taken to, in fact, Goa. More importantly, the kind of arguments that were addressed during the anticipatory bail application, the court found that the conduct of the brothers was not something that is warranted for an anticipatory bail. In fact, they ran away from the country is what the court noted, and also that they had no particular licenses while they were running this particular club. Major documents were also missing as far as this club is concerned.
Right, absolutely, Ananya. We are putting out the images of the Lutra brothers as they have arrived in the national capital. And these are the first images of the two brothers, or both of them masked. And they have been, in fact, documented at the Delhi International Airport right after deboarding the aircraft. And there you can see that ramp there. Right after exiting the aircraft is when this image was taken. And this image was documented. And this is what we are putting out for our viewers. Lutra brothers in Delhi finally. And now the custody battle is going to be beginning, and they will be, that Goa police will be seeking that transit remand so that they can be taken to Goa. My colleague Anvit continues to be with us on the broadcast. Anvit is just putting out these images of the Lutra brothers as they have deboarded the aircraft, and it seems to be taken right then. And you're saying half an hour is when we see the brothers coming out and exiting the airport.
Yes, and we are being told that formalities are underway, some paperwork and deportation formalities are underway, and Goa police is also there that has served them the arrest warrant, and they'll take the custody, and from there the teams will straight away take them to Patiala House Court. This is the gate of the VIP entry and exit gate, which has completely been cordoned. You can see CISF's quick response team commandos there guarding the gate to maintain the law and order. There's also Delhi police here, and entire gate as area. This is a VIP parking area that has been completely cordoned. Media has been cordoned to a side, and there is a convoy, a long line of vehicles that is here, and these are expected to be taken from here to Patiala House Court, and then arguments will start for their transit remand. But if we talk about the last 10 days, these brothers fled on morning of December 7th, and the same day, lookout circular was issued by the Bureau of Immigration on the request of Goa police, and just 2 days later, these brothers were located by Thai authorities. Indian agencies were informed. In the meanwhile, their passport and travel documents were also suspended. Indian agencies were informed when they were detained. They were brought back from Patong to Bangkok, and there they were kept for 2 to 3 days when the formalities were completed. Now today morning, after 10 days, after 9 to 10 days, they were put on a plane on Indigo flight 1064, 6E1064, and now they have landed. Now this is the gate they'll be exiting from within half an hour or 20 minutes. Formalities have almost been completed. Arrest warrants have been served. Some paperwork and the deportation formalities that are being done. A short Delhi police team and from this gate we saw, and CSF teams were also there to cordon them and to bring these brothers back. The photo that we are showing is from immediately after they had exited the Aero Bridge. We can see both of them, and you can also see some airline officials in the backdrop. So they have been detained, they've been brought, their transit remand will be taken. They will be most back to Goa today evening if the transit remand is given by the Patiala House Court, and then the investigation will begin. These two brothers had been absconding, and a lot of angles on investigation front had been incomplete. So once they are in the custody, investigation, their questioning will be done, and based on their interrogation, a lot of we are also expecting the can of worms will open, because there it seems to be the radar seems to be tightening, the noose seems to be tightening on multiple agencies functioning in Goa, not just municipal authorities but also law enforcement that have allowed this place to run for 18 months without a valid license, and also other fire safety norms and other legal norms that were not being adhered to. So the investigation will widen as they were taken to Panjim, and other agencies other than these brothers, other than the charges that is on them, that for culpable homicide not amounting to murder, also with regards to negligence of related to combustible items, we are also being told that the fire was started when electric fireworks being conducted, and whether there was permission for that or not. Also, a lot of alcohol was being stored. So was it being stored legally? Because that eventually fueled the fire in the basement. We have also heard testimonies from survivors who have said that yes, it was difficult to move out because the place was full of smoke, and there was hardly any secondary exit or entry points. The entry and exit points were also narrow. So were they being adhered to the basic norms of fire safety, that the width should be this much and there has to be a alternate exit? So everything will now be looked at, and multiple agencies will now come into the radar when the
Absolutely.
Goa police widens its investigation around this and around the lives that have been lost.
Absolutely, Anvit. And the reason why Anvit's camera seems to be panning a lot is because we are looking at the first glimpse of the Luthra brothers, who will be exiting the Delhi International Airport from that very VIP gate where you see ample security presence and cover. And we will see that very shortly. Simran also is with us. Anvit has saying one is, of course, Simran, the construction of the nightclub in that restricted zone, in that eco-sensitive zone, a concern that has only come to light after this tragedy has really killed 25 people. And that's how troubling this entire fact is. We're also, in fact, looking at very many problematic things that have come to fore, whether it is about the single entry or exit point, no emergency exit that was part of the property, no firefighting equipment at the premises, or even the establishment never obtaining a NOC. What were the authorities really doing for the establishment of such a scale and magnitude, having running there for close to 2 years and no NOC when it is about fire safety? The license also too was not renewed, and yet the authorities were caught napping.
Well, absolutely. And in one word, if I have to tell you from the experience of getting the documents and understanding the nexus, is that the authorities were only busy over these years in passing the buck. And that is where it has led to, in passing the buck through the official notices, show cause notices, and the orders and the suspension notices as well. What has in fact come to the fore is this very horrific, tragic incident, which had directly or indirectly, in a way, had allowed these establishments to function till a point that it resulted into this kind of tragedy, claiming the lives of 25 people, these innocent lives that were negligently in fact killed, as now the authorities are put up also in the question, given that the orders and everyone is wanting to save their own chair. But the main question that has been also coming up ever since this incident has been reported on the 6th of December is that after the magistral inquiry that has been specifically put up as the pressure has been mounting onto what really has led in that department to let this particular
Absolutely, but Simran, what really happened about that demolition draft proposal that was in fact put out by the Panchayat there in Arpora, but nothing really was done about it. Even the brothers were asked to be present while that inspection was happening in the early part of 2025. What happened to that entire demolition proposal? Now that the brothers have been trying witch hunt for the other property that has been demolished in Vagator.
Well, absolutely. And the demolition proposal that was time and again also flagged in the meetings that were being conducted at the Panchayat office. So this was already a full-blown issue. This was something that had to be taken up time and again in a few intervals of every month by the local authorities and the local village members of the Panchayat. So it was, in fact, also highlighted that we, as the member of the Panchayat who were involved into issuing the show cause notice to the owners as well, but there was no reply. And that is where things become even more intense and shocking, that despite the number of repeated reminders, the number of times that it has been highlighted by the authorities, these are government documents, these are government orders, these are the orders on the authority of the Tehsildar, the Deputy Collector. So many of them coming up each and every time there is the highlighting of what has been going wrong. But every time that such a kind of incident is reported, that this has to be taken an action against, there was no reply whatsoever, either from the original landowners and also now the people in question, of course the Luthra brothers as well.
Okay. Ashwini Dubey, there's also a money laundering charge against the brothers. We're talking about the 42 shell companies that have been running under the Luthra brothers' name. There's an address that is linked to the Luthras. All of those 42 shell companies are linked to that one address. How much of that will serve as a detrimental aspect of this particular case that the authorities have against the Luthras?
Definitely, the proceeds of crime have been used for upgrading this Birch by Romeo Lane, then definitely it is connected with this matter, and then the investigation will be conducted by the premier agencies, that is the ED. Because ED investigate only those offences which are generally the state police is not capable of doing, number one. And number two, if the proceeds of crime and evidences are in different parts of the country too, and if the proceeds of crime or the money which has been used or which has been found or which has been linked with those accused persons are in fact the hawala money or black money. So these are the possibilities and probabilities. But I firmly say again that that would only come when the investigation will move on, because till now they were at the Thailand. Now they have been deported from there, and deportation process to remove individuals who violate immigration laws. I am just, or you was telling, this extradition and deportation, both are different things, because deportation is only governed by the domestic international laws, and there are violation of overstaying, illegal entry, or the deemed threats. So that is why very promptly the Goa police and the government of India warned the Thailand government, and then from there they were returned to us. Number two point is very important, very legitimate question have been. It's not the Goa is a happening place. In December, people from all over the country used to go to Goa to spend their holidays. This lapse and threat of 25 people have definitely raised a question. So where is the tourism in Goa?
Absolutely.
But you see, the panchayats in Goa
we will discuss about that, and that's a pertinent point that you are raising, Ashwini. Thank you so much for, in fact, making that point. We will continue our coverage, but right now going into a very short break.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
There's been a big relief for the Gandhis in the National Herald case, as the Delhi High Court has refused to take cognizance of the prosecution complaint filed by the Enforcement Directorate against them. The Delhi court has said that my colleague Ananya Bhatnagar is now joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, some sort of a respite that's been granted to the Gandhis in this particular case that has plagued the family ever since. But the Delhi court refusing to take cognizance of the prosecution complaint that has been filed by the ED. What exactly will this go on to eventually mean for the case?
Well, absolutely. At this particular point of time, if we talk about it, it's in fact a big relief that is coming in for the Gandhis because they're yet not made an accused in this particular case. They were in fact proposed accused in that prosecution complaint, or what we in simple terms call the charge sheet, has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate. But the court has refused to take cognizance of this particular charge sheet merely because there was an absence of an FIR of a predicate offense in this particular case. Now, the only option available with the Enforcement Directorate is to first get an agency to actually register a predicate offense, and then, in fact, this investigation could actually continue, though the court has given liberty to the ED to actually